That's right, dear listeners. The game that I have yet to beat from the Super Nintendo era is Super Metroid. Posted this on Twitter the other day, or on Instagram actually, and mentioned that we're going to be starting a new series now that Fury is over with, and it was going to be on a game that I have yet to finish. And surprisingly enough, that game is Super Metroid, which is, I'm sure, catches several people, if not all of you, off guard. It's like, wait a minute, Logan is a huge Metroid fan. How in the world has he not beaten Super Metroid yet? And it's a question I ask myself every day. I wake up in the mirror, look at myself, and go, how dare you, sir? How have you not beaten Super Metroid? But, dear listeners, that time is now. The time to beat Super Metroid is now. Now, to give just a brief history of this game, I originally owned this game with my Super Nintendo, and when I had it, at the age I had it, I think I was like 8 or 9, I was really young. I didn't understand the game, I just liked the way it looked, I liked the way it played, and I didn't make it very far. I think the most I ever made it to was this Venus flytrap kind of thing, I guess. And that's as far as I've ever made it. So, we'll see how this goes. I did play this a little bit when I first got my Super NES Classic, and kind of got a little bit further, but again, we'll see how it goes, right? We'll see how it goes. So, dear listeners, strap in, buckle up. I think those are the same thing, but we're going to play some Super Metroid. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the game, get set up, watch the opening cinematic, and enjoy.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
It feels really, really good to be back in this game. Like, oh man, this is such a nostalgia trip for me. It just feels like it's been so long since I've been back here, kind of coming back to this space station. It fills me with a sense of excitement, but also a sense of dread. Like, I know what's coming, right? And the music isn't helping. Oh man, I remember coming into this section when I was a kid and just seeing the bodies on the ground and going, what just happened here? Oh man. This game pulls off a lot of just really masterful kind of... it just sets the atmosphere in a masterful way, I think is what I'm trying to say. Oh, what a cool reveal. Man. If you've never played this game before, you're actually supposed to lose this fight. I'll talk about that after I take him down and get out of the space station. You'll see why I have to leave here soon enough. You're going down, buddy. You're going down. Old enemy. Oh boy. Oh, timer's stressed me out. We better hurry up. Better hurry up. Gotta go fast. If only I had those speed boots. Is that what they're called? High speed boots? Something like that? I don't know. No, we made it with 30 seconds to spare. Planet Zebes. Almost makes me think of Dragon Ball Z. On the planet Zebes, Goku fights Frieza for the 5th billionth time. Man, what a trip. What a trip. I'm excited, dear listeners. I am excited to be playing this game, to be getting back to it. I'm sure some of you are wondering, how in the world has this game been out as long as it has? And I haven't beaten it. And I don't have a very good answer. You know, it's true, I'm a pretty big Metroid fan. If you've listened to the podcast for any length of time, you know how big of a fan of this series that I am. And really, my fandom with this series didn't start until... Was it Metroid Fusion? Yeah, it was Metroid Fusion and Metroid Prime, because those games came out on the same day and I got them both. And just played them like crazy. Such good games. Dear listeners, if you haven't played Metroid Fusion or Metroid Prime, definitely, I mean, if you have the ability to do so, go ahead and do it. I actually just found out recently that my youth room is inheriting a Nintendo Wii from a family that just doesn't need it anymore in our church. And so I'm probably going to play the Metroid Prime trilogy on there. But a few quick notes about this series is, yes, I will be playing through the whole game. And this first episode is going to be longer than what the episodes are normally. Normally they're about 15 minutes, around there. This one's going to be 30 minutes if you haven't noticed already. Just because it's the start of a new series, I want to give you guys plenty of stuff to watch. Plenty of stuff to enjoy. While also giving me the opportunity to gush about Metroid for a little bit. It's just so good. So good. But part of what kind of sparked this new series is I was sent an article from Kotaku, I believe, where one of their writers who didn't get a chance to play, it was this game, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and I can't remember what the third game is, but they were playing it and just talking about how the game is still basically a perfect game. And I was like, man, I really need to go back and play this game. And then one of my favorite YouTube channels, The Completionist, if you guys have never seen his content, go check him out, The Completionist on YouTube. He was going through and doing a, what was it, rewind or something like that, to where he basically goes back to the first 100 some odd episodes of his show and completes a game all over again. and he did Super Metroid, and I was like, oh man. Like, between that article I read and between the Super Metroid thing on The Completionist, I really want to play this game, and I decided that it was time that I finish this game. It also kind of helped that one of my friends was basically making fun of me, like, how are you that big of a Metroid fan and you still haven't finished Super Metroid? It makes no sense. Oh, man. I remember the first time that I came up that elevator and came out into this room and saw those space pirates, and it scared me. This was a game that actually scared me a lot when I played it growing up. Ridley scared me when he was revealed and made off with the Metroid. Those space pirates scared me, but I don't know, I just wanted to keep playing the game. It's a cool game. And it's funny because I tell people all the time, yeah, Super Metroid's one of my favorite games of all time, but I haven't beaten it, you know? But I think that just says a lot about the game itself and how good it is. It's just one of those games that I don't think you necessarily have to beat in order to really appreciate it. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I forgot that they jump off the walls. Oh, there we go. Got him. Mid-air. But this game is just, man, my history with this game is... I remember when I first got it with my Super Nintendo. A little bit of story time here. Sorry I don't have the piano like I do on the show, but this was one of the first games I got with my Super Nintendo, and it was so special just because, I mean, in a lot of ways it was because it was one of the first games I had, and so naturally I just played it a ton, and I wasn't very good at it, but I still liked the music, I loved the look, I loved the gameplay, I just loved everything about the game. And so it just has a special place in my heart. Like, playing it right now in 2019 is just, it's a trip for me. Like, I feel like I'm back home, got my juice box, you know, got my Rice Krispie treats. That was my snack of choice, which is probably not a good snack to eat while you're playing video games. But man, it's so cool to be playing this again. So cool. But obviously you guys can probably tell I'm playing this on the Super Nintendo Classic because of the borders. And I remember when the Super Nintendo Classic actually was announced and it showed that Super Metroid was on there, and I was like, I'm gonna buy the Super Nintendo Classic just so I can play Super Metroid. And then I saw what other games were on there, and I was like, oh cool, I'll play those too. What are they? I'm kidding. I did play... There's games on here I did play before, but yeah, man, I just remember seeing the lineup and going, yep, Super Metroid, I'll take it. But as far as like my history goes with that, you know, this wasn't even, like I said, this is the first one I owned, but it's not the first one I've beaten. I had to think for a second, did I word that right? Yeah, I did. The first Metroid game that I've actually beaten is, oh man, this is a boss, isn't it? Yeah, I think this is a boss. Here, give me a second, dear listeners. I'm gonna have to focus all my energy into this single boss fight. I remember when I fought this dude, when I first played this game, and it was so hard. I had to restart the game several times. Not like restart like my save file, but just like redo the fight. Because he just was so stinking hard. Oh, what? He's shooting Nike symbols at me. Wait a second, I can't talk and shoot at the same time. Drop some bombs on him. Yeah, that's right. What's that? He spits mangoes at you? He's spitting mangoes at me. He's got Nike symbols, he's got fruit that he shoots at you. This guy's got it all. Okay, his chest is gone. There we go. Oh Okay, there goes his head. Oh, got him. Good stuff. I had 1 rocket left. Yeah, that guy straight up scared me. When I first played this, that dude scared me so bad. I was like, oh, what is this? Why is he hitting me so hard? But the first Metroid game that I actually beat was Metroid Did I beat Fusion before Prime? I think I beat Fusion before Prime. But I do remember rocking the Metroid Fusion suit in Metroid Prime. That was one of the cool things that they kind of had in the marketing was if you buy Metroid Fusion and Metroid Prime, or if you just connect your Game Boy to your GameCube, you'll unlock the Metroid Fusion suit for Metroid Prime. And I was like, oh dude, yeah, I'll take that. That's so cool. I still think it's cool. Like if I wish I could still do that. That was just, it was a cool suit. I don't know how people feel about the Metroid Fusion suit. I personally dug it, but I also just really like the color blue, if you couldn't tell from the color of the podcast and all that stuff. I forgot those guys kind of bob and weave. But yeah, Metroid Fusion and Prime were really the ones that kind of sold me on the Metroid franchise. You know, Super Metroid got me there to a degree, but Metroid Fusion and Metroid Prime were the games that really hooked me into the series as a whole, and I was like, I want to play all of these games. Okay. Wait, I wonder, can I just... I'm trying to think. Okay, you do have to use the rockets. That's what I thought. I'm trying to see how much I remember from when I played as a kid and from when I played, you know, when I got my Super Nintendo Classic. I'm just trying to see how much I remember exactly. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like the right area. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. This just shows the bosses. I remember when I first came in here, though, as a kid, and I saw the bosses and were just like, what is this? Like, what is this game? What am I fighting? What am I gonna... you know? It's pretty cool. Oh, it's so trippy being back. But yeah, Metroid Prime, oh man, that's a game. And I'm still begging Nintendo to please put the Nintendo Switch. To put the Nintendo Switch on the Nintendo Switch? No, to put the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Nintendo Switch just so I can play Metroid Prime on the go. Because I played Metroid Prime 1 and 2. I played them a ton. But Metroid Prime 3 is the only one I've played maybe 20 minutes of, and that's about it. So I would love to go back and play those again. Oh, what are these things? Oh, I'm falling. Oh. Okay, we're good. But man, this is just such a cool game. Really, really enjoyed this game. You know, one of the things I really like about the game is just the sense of exploration. And that's why I like games like Hollow Knight and Castlevania and all that, because it just... I don't know what it is about these kind of games. I just like the whole hunting, or not really hunting, but it's more like exploring and upgrading your gear and then getting new gear, and then that opens up other areas. And I don't know, I think that's why I really like the Batman Arkham games, because if you play the Batman Arkham games, they're all built the same way as a Metroid game. And they're just really, really cool. But it's just that sense of exploration is what just makes it fun. I mean, then you got the music, you got... I mean, is there a game that is more perfect than Super Metroid? I don't know. Dear listeners, you let me know in the comments below. Because I don't think there is. Except maybe Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is really good. Oh, there's the charge room. Okay, maybe I remember more than I thought. Go. But yeah, dear listeners, this is, like I said, what's the green one? Is that the Mountain Dew door? I don't remember. Like I said, dear listeners, we're going to be playing through the whole game over here on youtube.com/thereformedgamers. So be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Oh, wait, I have the charge beam now. I can just... Yeah. Oh, okay. This dude... Okay, listen up, Buck Bumble. Does anybody remember Buck Bumble? It was a N64 game where you basically play as a... I don't even know what Buck Bumble was. I know he was a bumblebee, but I don't know if he was like a secret agent or what he was. I just remember it being a really ridiculous game, but having probably one of the most addictive sounding or catchy sounding theme songs of that era. But yeah. So as far as other Metroid games, I've only played Metroid Prime 1 and 2. I've only played Metroid Fusion. I've only played... is that it? That cannot be it. What's the one that came out on the DS? Samus Returns. I played that one. And then I didn't get to play Zero Mission, which is a remake of the first game. I played the first game before, and I can't play it anymore because it's just, the controls are just so bad. Or it's not the controls, it's the fact that there's no map. It's just easy to get lost. I was just never really good at it, and so I just never decided to play it. I played it on Switch. Like, I played it so many times that I've tried to get into it, and I can't do it. Believe me, I've tried, dear listeners, and I can't do it. If I had a Wii U, I would play because I know you can get Zero Mission on the Wii U, and I would play it on there. Sorry, I'm just farming this for health at this point. But if I had a Wii U, I would play it on there, because I know you can play it on there. You can pick it up for that and play it. But I haven't played it. I did play Other M. That was an experience. For dear listeners that don't know, Other M was the game made by, was it Platinum Games? Where Metroid was it was basically kind of like an action game, kind of like Bayonetta or something like that, and man, it was... Oh boy, it was something. It was something else. It's not a game I want to return to anytime soon. Let me just say that. I was wondering why I was getting the sniffles. Dude's just dropping pollen over here. Dude is just dropping pollen like crazy. Okay, how do I do this again? Oh, that's right, I gotta wait for him to open up his little mouth. Then I can blast him with a rocket. Cool, we'll go ahead and knock this guy out. My nose is actually getting kind of sniffly, so I don't know if the boss is just that powerful or if the pollen is just that bad around here. You know what's funny is I'm actually kind of getting a little sniffly right now playing this, and I don't know if the boss is just that good or if the pollen around here is just that bad. I don't know, but I don't like it. You know, I kind of remember this boss being a little bit... Oh, okay, he moves fast. Never mind. I should just stop talking and making the boss even worse. I was about to say that I remember this boss being a lot harder as a kid. I'm like, man, this guy's easy. And now he just started moving around super fast. I'm like, nope, this is still pretty bad. I'm not cheesing this boss fight, am I? Using the morph ball? I don't think so, right? I mean, it seems like that's what they want me to do. Oh snap, he got darker and faster and angrier. This is a scary plant, man. Ah, there we go. And I'm out of rockets. I'm gonna have to get some more expansions here. Alright. Well, dear listeners, we are at a point where beyond this boss, it is uncharted territory. Well, maybe for a little bit further. This seems familiar. But I'm just saying, like, when I played this as a kid, I remember beating that boss, and that was the only boss I'd ever fought in the game. So, we'll see who's next. We'll see who's next. Ooh, what is this? What's this? What's this? There we go. Super missile, yes. Right on. Cool beans. So no, that. Oh no, that's the green doors. The super missile. That's right. That's right. I'm trying to remember all that stuff. Oop. Oh man, this feels like that section of Mega Man 2 with Airman on his fortress and has those floating heads. And was that Mega Man 1? One of the Mega Man games that had floating heads, and it was shooting these like flying bird things at you. It just reminded me of that. Okay, there we go. See, that's something I love about this game. You get a new item and then it opens up new pathways. It's so stinking cool. Oh. Like, what a cool way to reward the player. You know? It's like instead of making you pay money to do something in the game, you just play the game, get new gear, and then you can just you can just get new stuff. Like it just happens. What a concept. Oh man. That's what I'm talking about. Get him. I'm still not used to these things. Like I keep aiming down when I'm shooting when I mean to aim up, and it just oh man, we're gonna see how well this works. Got a whole playthrough to play this game. We'll see how it goes. Man, dear listeners, I'm excited. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be playing this game. I'm glad to be checking it out. Finally adding it to the list of games that I've beaten. Or, yeah, that makes sense. But dear listeners, this is just episode 1. We've got plenty more to go. So as always, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. And thank you for checking out this first episode of Super Metroid. I appreciate it. Why not leave a like or comment down below? Let me know what you think of Super Metroid. Have you played it? Have you beaten it? Do you have any tips for me? Because at this point, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna hope for the best and hope that my years of playing games like Dark Souls and Hollow Knight and all that jazz kind of come into play and help me out. But yeah, dear listeners, thank you again for checking out this episode. And until next time, GG and amen.